Fox News at 9 with Molly Martinez and meteorologist Henry Blakes. Your first news of the night starts right now on West Dakota Fox News at 9.
Tonight with breaking news, multiple tornadoes tear through northern North Dakota overnight, wreaking havoc on sleeping communities. We've just learned from the McKenzie County Sheriff a one-week-old baby died in the storm. In a statement, they say it is with great sadness the McKenzie County Sheriff's Office announces the death of a 7-day-old male who was injured in the EF2 tornado at Prairie View RV Park early this morning. The infant sustained serious injuries and was subsequently transported to a hospital with advanced life support services, where he passed away this afternoon. The family is obviously grieving and has requested privacy during this terrible time. The victim's name will not be released at the request of the parents. Dozens more are injured, some critically, while hundreds of homes lay in ruin. And it's the first of a 1-2 punch as another round of violent weather heads our way. One of the hardest hit areas was that Prairie View RV Park. As victims pick up their lives, Daniela Hurtado picks up the story.
Molly, many are trying to stay positive, but they say last night was one of the scariest nights of their lives. As you can see behind me, all that's left of this home is debris, and the home behind that, and the home behind that. Now, I spoke to a woman who tells me she ran through the storm to make sure her grandparents were okay, and I spoke to a man who climbed over rubble to make sure his son was safe.
You couldn't see anything, the pouring rain, it was just havoc.
Shelly Linner says she went to her grandparents' RV down the road from hers last night to see if they were okay.
Just someone you love, or just in any response situation, you see the camper and it's grandma, grandpa, grandma, grandpa, I was just praying.
Finally, she did. They were stuck but alive. She says they were taken to the hospital and released Tuesday morning. Just a few steps away are the Vale family, fighting to get their loved ones out too.
That time the neighbor's house picked itself up, the one behind us here, and came in through my house, basically destroying everything in its path. Yelled for my wife to get on the floor and climbed rubble, heading to go find my son.
Vale says they were fortunately not injured, but his 4 homes are gone. Such devastation left families trying to pick up the little they had left this afternoon. This evening, they're expecting another storm, and they are not sure whether or not it will be bigger or smaller than the one from last night. But community leaders say they're preparing for the worst. In Watford City for West Dakota Fox News at 9, I'm Daniela Hurtado.
Meantime, the Red Cross has boots on the ground to aid the victims of last night's storm. Jack Springate reports.
It was scary. The last few hours were scary.
As safety concerns grew for residents caught in the extreme weather, so did the response from the community.
When the sheriff guys and came and, warn people, tell them, hey guys, you need to get out of there and then go to the civic center. So I dropped my pickup on my way out. I've seen a lot of bad stuff I've never seen in my life.
Gadim was one of many who fled from home to seek shelter at the Watford City Civic Center.
You see fear in them. Your heart kind of hurts for them. Just trying to take care of them. So many people throughout the county were already starting to call, what can I do, what do you need?
Outfitting the shelter with food, water, and other supplies kept Joppy up all night.
We'll make it through this. And we'll do all that we can for these people. And happened 4 years ago, we made it through that one, and this is a little bigger than that one, and we know what to do now.
Even with the Red Cross and other relief groups here to help, Joppy says they're going to need the whole community to get involved to help bring people back.
It's just a community effort. We're there for these people, and we want to help them get back on their feet and have a good start, and we'll do it again.
Helping their own recover after a night that will be hard to forget. In Watford City for West Dakota Fox News at 9, I'm Jack Springate.
The storms also impacted parts of Montana. The National Weather Service survey team says an EF1 tornado hit the south end of Plentywood, and a macro burst hit the Plentywood Airport. 9 planes were destroyed at the Sheridan County Airport. The Montana Red Cross has opened a comfort station at the Sheridan County Civic Center for those displaced by the storm. Governor Doug Burgum and Lieutenant Governor Brent Sanford were in Watford City today to assess that tornado damage. Burgum says he wanted to talk to the victims and formulate a game plan with city leaders.
Unfortunately, when you have issues like this, one of the things that you uncover is gaps in the system, and one of the things that we're already discussing is that there is a little bit of a radar shadow along the the border between Montana and North Dakota, and certainly Lieutenant Governor and myself will be looking into what it takes to make sure that we can have state-of-the-art capability.
Sanford and Burgum say the National Guard is ready if needed. For a look at what we're dealing with tonight, let's send it over to meteorologist Henry Blakes.
Hey, thank you. Unfortunately, some of the areas that were hit last night are going to be impacted by another round of severe storms this evening. Expect in the central and southern region coming up later on, Molly.
All right, thanks, Henry. The woman whose 4-month-old son was found dead in rural Stutsman County Saturday is in jail tonight on unrelated charges. Justice Lang is being held on a probation hold for unpaid fines in Jamestown Municipal Court. Authorities say she told them she didn't remember the previous 4 days or where she left her baby. Stutsman County Sheriff says the prosecutors are waiting on an autopsy result from the child before filing any charges against Lang related to his death. Authorities say a Grand Forks man who was arrested after an hours-long standoff died in police custody. Jail and law enforcement officials say that 36-year-old Samuel Nelson died Monday evening shortly after he was arrested at a Grand Forks apartment. An autopsy has been ordered to determine the cause of death. The North Dakota Bureau of Criminal Investigation say it will review the incident to ensure that all policies and procedures were followed. In political news, North Dakotans are showing support for Judge Brett Kavanaugh, President Trump's nominee for Supreme Court Justice. 30 people attended a rally outside the federal courthouse in Bismarck to show support and urge Senator Heidi Heitkamp to vote to confirm Kavanaugh. But opinions are mixed when it comes to Kavanaugh's judicial record.
We need to make sure that the highest Judge Kavanaugh is a man who is committed to upholding the original intent of the foundation of our democracy as enshrined in the Constitution.
Kavanaugh is unfriendly to the Affordable Care Act, and that we believe that he would get rid of the Affordable Care Act, and that would leave thousands of North Dakotans without health care.
Abortion is another big issue that could come up to play in the new round. The Centers for Disease Control reports approximately 1,200 abortions were performed every year in North Dakota. Nearly a month after the primary election, the ballot still isn't set for Secretary of State in November. Incumbent Al Jaeger is still collecting signatures to get his name on the ballot. Another candidate is going through the courts. Libertarian candidate Roland Reimers has filed a petition with the state Supreme Court to force a recount. He's already appealed to the Secretary of State's office, but was told the recount doesn't apply to him.
The law wording is quite clear. It doesn't refer to political parties. It refers to the top vote getter for that office.
State Elections Director John Arnold says he can't comment since the matter is now up to the courts. Well, the ballot might change, but local election dates probably won't. State legislators' Government Administration Committee is considering moving municipal and county elections to November in order to have greater voter participation. But after hearing testimony today, committee members say they'll likely keep the election schedule as is.
If you are a compelling candidate or there's a compelling issue on the ballot, that drives turnout. And I don't think there's anything that the government can do to force election turnout, and there probably shouldn't be.
In the June election, voter turnout was about 20% statewide. North Dakota Attorney General Wayne Stenjum is suing the company that built the Dakota Access Pipeline. Stenjum says North Dakota Access LLC bought 6,000 acres from a family ranch to protect its workers during protests. But the state prohibits large corporations from owning and operating farms. Stenjum says an agreement was reached to allow the purchase to provide a safe environment for pipeline workers and was extended through June. But now, Stenjum seeks to fine the company $25,000 and force it to sell the land within a year or face more fines. Tonight, it was the start of a series of public meetings about the next 5 years of the public transit in the Bismarck and Mandan area. Megan Hoffman is here to tell us how changes could be coming to public transit.
Public transportation, for many, it's a necessity if they don't have their own way of going from place to place. It's all about getting input to see how the community thinks they could be better served by the busing system. A new plan for Bismarck-Mandan's public transportation system. Officials started collecting input on how the public thinks it could be better served, from routes and timing to maintenance and how money is spent.
We look at all parts of transit, not just the pieces that service the public, but also the pieces that help work the inside.
The meeting was sparsely attended as officials talked about how they plan to have a draft ready by the end of the year. Ultimately, though, Bisman Transit decides what they will implement. But Drulo says getting feedback from the community allows them to see what is needed.
We want to know what people think is working well, what they'd like to see change in the future, and that can help us as we start to develop ideas for future changes.
There will be 2 more meetings, one at 10:30 Wednesday morning at the Bismarck Public Library and one on Thursday at 5 p.m. in Bismarck at the City County Building. There will be more public input meetings in the fall. If you'd like to submit feedback online, you can do so at transitplanbisman.com.
After 8 months of negotiation, the state health department and ambulance services have reached an agreement on rural EMS funding. The new model set guidelines on revenues and expenses for smaller services. If the expenses exceed what the ambulance services makes, the health department could foot as much as 60% of that bill.
So those are both additional pieces that help people understand kind of what the parameters of an ambulance service of a certain size should be gaining in terms of revenue and what the expenses should be.
Weidrich says funding discussions will continue and adjustments will be made when necessary. After the break, a miraculous rescue from 2 miles underground. We'll show you the heroic efforts to snake through a cavernous labyrinth to free a trapped Thai soccer team. After weeks of waiting and uncertainty of survival, today the world is breathing a sigh of relief after all 12 boys and their soccer coach are successfully rescued from 2 miles underground inside a flooded cave. Reporter Jeff Paul shows us the incredible, daunting, and deadly rescue efforts.
It's officially over. The medic and 3 Thai Navy SEALs who stayed with 12 trapped boys and their soccer coach have returned to the surface. More than 2 weeks after the team got stuck in a cave more than 2 miles underground, forcing the SEALs to bring them out one by one in a dangerous 6-hour journey through dark, narrow passageways.
The greatest thing we have to worry about is obviously breathing oxygen and just keeping them calm as they snake through that maze of that cave system.
Making things more difficult, none of the group had diving experience and most couldn't swim. There had been speculation they might have been given tranquilizers before attempting the rescue. Officials say that would have been counterproductive, though the boys were given anti-anxiety medications that help keep them calm.
Who would chloroform them? If they're chloroformed, how could they come out? It's called an anxiolytic, something to make them not excited, not stressed.
The Thai military says they sent over 1,000 people to help get the boys and their coach out. Dozens of other rescue workers responded as well. They're now dismantling equipment and packing up supplies, wrapping up a rescue effort that captured the world's attention.
We are glad. We are so happy that all 13 have left.
I will feel like all Thais will feel now, after going through the roller coaster of emotions, all the way after 2 weeks plus, everybody will feel relieved, jubilant.
The rescue finished up just as the rainy season got underway here, which will flood the cave even more. In Mae Sai, Thailand, Jeff Paul, Fox News.
Officials announcing a Walt Disney World cast member was killed due to an industrial accident near Disney's Pop Century Resort on Monday. They got a 911 call and found 33-year-old Juan Alberto Ojeda unconscious and unresponsive. Ojeda was pronounced dead at the scene. Deputies are investigating the deaths as an industrial accident. Trending tonight, talk about a close call. Look at the upper right-hand side of your screen here. Security cameras capture footage of a man accidentally stumbling onto the tracks at the Berlala train station in Sydney, Australia. The man struggling to get off the tracks just as an oncoming train is pulling into the station. As you can see, luckily, another traveler arrived in time and helped the man off the tracks. All right, let's take a full look at the weather headed our way with meteorologist Henry Blakes.
Hey, Molly, I wish I had some good news for viewers in Plentywood, northeastern Montana, Williston, Wofford City, but unfortunately, you're looking at another round of severe weather like we mentioned last night.
You may notice some bright changes next time you cross Main Street in Bismarck. Maddie Jelseth shows us what it's all about.
Where I'm standing, this area used to be part of the street, but with the Bismarck Moves project, the city engineer says these polka dots are more welcoming for pedestrians. The city of Bismarck is testing out a pedestrian curb extension and high visibility crosswalks on the intersection of 5th Street and Main Avenue. The city engineer says that the goal of the Bismarck Moves project is to bring more attention to the areas that are shared by both pedestrians and drivers.
I don't know if this is a good thing for pedestrians because I think they need a dividing line between the traffic and where pedestrians can stand.
This project offers an opportunity to test street improvement design solutions using temporary, low-cost materials before investing in permanent ones.
The value that we are able to achieve by having demonstration projects like this with only spending $1,000 per se on an improvement to test it out rather than spending $70,000 to try out an idea and have it not work.
Go Bismarck Mandan gave a grant of $1,500, and the Department of Health gave $1,000 to have this project done. Shell says the city hopes to not go over the grant it's received. Bismarck Moves project is expected to end in August. If you'd like to give your feedback on this project, you can go to bismarcknd.gov. Reporting in downtown for West Dakota Fox News at 9, I'm Maddie Joseph.
For more information on these severe storms, you can visit our website, Your News Leader. Until then, stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow.